evening and welcome to the Livonia City Council. The Honorable Brandon Kritzman will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you all rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Kritzman. We'd like to welcome you to the 1,882nd regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting, which will be scheduled to be held on Monday, October the 21st. Would our clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Kritzman.
Present.
Councilmember Barr.
Here.
Councilmember White.
Present.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Present.
Councilmember Meekin.
Here.
Vice President Jolly.
Present.
President Toy.
Here. We have a quorum, all 7 of us, and now, if we could we have the presentation of the minutes of the 1,881st regular meeting of the council, which was held on Monday, September the 23rd.
So moved.
Moved by
Support.
Councilwoman White, supported by Councilman Barr. Was it Kritzman? Pardon me, Councilman Kritzman, Madam Clerk. Will the clerk take the vote?
Councilmember Kritzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin.
Present.
Vice President Jolly.
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're on personal announcements, tributes, or recognitions. Anyone? No? Alrighty. Let me just go into birthdays, because we have a couple special ones. We have Mr. Toromina, who was on October the 2nd. So happy birthday, Mr. Toromina.
Thank you very much.
Certainly. We won't go into details.
Can we, please?
Well, we could. And then we had Mr. Zelinsik, who is quickly running down, and he was the birthday boy just yesterday, it looks like, October 6th.
A little older and a little slower.
All right. Well, happy birthday to you as well. All right. Any others that we're missing? Leo, is it yours? No, not
Friday.
Friday's your birthday?
Well, there you go.
Honestly? Yes. Oh, how perfect. That's great. Oh, thank you. Well, happy birthday.
I thought I was joking when I
Yes,
told you
sir.
that, right?
Yes, sir. Well, that's great. Well, before we get into other council announcements of such important items, as all of us, we would like to introduce our department heads. To my left is Todd Zelinsik. Todd is our city engineer and does a great job, as well as Mark Taramina, our city planner. And I believe you're our economic developer as well, right, Mark? Still? Yes, that's great. Thank you, Mark, for all you do. Judy Preby, who has to deal with all 7 of us, and that's quite a task, and we appreciate Judy Preby so much. Thank you, Judy, for all you do. To my right is Leo Neville, who is our city attorney, one of the many good guys here in our city hall, and gives us great advice, and we really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Leo.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. Susan Nash, who is our city clerk, and she's got a big job ahead of her, and we appreciate you being here. And then we also have out in our audience our city treasurer, Linda Scheel, and Mr. Roroff, who is also our great DPW director, who does a fantastic job as well for our city. Thank you. Okay, we've taken care of the housekeeping. Council, there'll be one X item this evening on our agenda, and we do have new data on item 8. Councilman Meekin.
I did have one item. We had one retiree in the month of September. Michael Kingsbury, senior police sergeant, is retiring from the police force after 25 years of service. We wish him well in his retirement.
Thank you. Any comments on that? Anybody? No? Okay, we do have 2 announcements. We have a first citizen advisory committee meeting for 2020 road paving program. And that will be held on Wednesday, October the 16th at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Zelinsik, you wanted us to remind everyone, correct? The meeting will be held at the Daniel R. Andrew Public Service Division facility located at 12973 Farmington Road in the West Conference Room. And if you need a map to that, we'll be happy to provide that for you. This meeting will give you an opportunity to speak directly with Citizen Advisory Committee on roads, to communicate your concerns that you may have regarding the existing road conditions under the jurisdiction of the city of Livonia, consisting of over 370 miles of roads for consideration for repairs and replacements. If you are unable to attend, please send a letter or fax or concerns to the attention of our engineering division. I'll give you that fax number, and I'm sure you're all at home with a pen and paper, but if not, we'll give you a few seconds, because I also want to give you the email. And in selecting, you need to select the DPW engineering and clicking on contact us. And that is www.ci.livonia, livonia.mi.us. And the phone, or the fax number, if I may, is to our engineering department, which is 734-466-2195. Again, that will be on October 16th at 6:30 at the Daniel R. Andrew Public Service Division Facility. Thank you, Mr. Zelinsik, for bringing that forward. And our second one concerns MDOT. It's a public meeting for 2020 on the I-275 project in Wayne County. And that one is MDOT, which is our Michigan Department of Transportation, is hosting a public discussion for a plan on I-275 repair for project of 2020 in the townships of Canton, Plymouth, Northville, and the city of Livonia. There will be exhibits, displays, project location, types of work, traffic details, and interested parties will have the opportunity to meet the design team and learn details about the project. This will be held the day before the other one, which this will be held on Tuesday, October 15th, from 4 to 6 at Summit on the Park, that's in Canton, Michigan, at 46,000 Summit Parkway. And again, that's 4 to 6 on October 15th for MDOT. So those are two great programs coming up, and I hope our residents can attend, and who's ever interested. Council, we're gonna go over into audience communication. Anything that's not on our green agenda this evening, if you would like, you have the opportunity to speak now to the council, to podium to my left or right. Give us your name and address, and we'll give you 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
President Toy.
Yes.
Council, audience, and viewers. My name is Ray Boone. I've lived in Livonia for 34 years. I am a Vietnam veteran, and I belong to Post 3941. I'm here representing them tonight. Tomorrow, October 8th, 2019, we will be celebrating our 75th year here in Livonia. We were chartered back in October 8th of 1944. We are wanting to thank the city of Livonia and the citizens for their support in these 75 years. And we're going to have an open house this Saturday, the 12th, from noon to 5. We'll have the post open for literature and treats. You can come out and find out what we do with all that poppy money, which we have been, which the city has so generously contributed to us over the years. And we have helped a lot of veterans, and there's a 22-minute film that we have gotten from the National telling the history of the VFW. VFW celebrated their 120th year last month.
Wow.
So it's very exciting, and we're looking forward for a good turnout. Also, VFW has supported the Blue Water Bill that's passed in the National, which allows the Vietnam veterans that were in the Navy to claim Agent Orange sicknesses. So we'll have a service officer there and also a recruiter if you want to not sign up for the service, but sign up for VFW. We need the support, and we need help for the vets. So thank you for your time. It's this October 12th, Saturday from noon to 5. We have treats and literature.
Great, well,
No tricks, just treats.
great. Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
your
Thank
time.
you for your service and welcome home.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, my name is Christine Wofford. I spent many years in Livonia. Two real quick things before I get to my main point. I did call the police department. There's a problem at Myers parking lot. Cars are running through the lot at a very fast rate of speed, getting from Middlebelt to cross over to Industrial. And they said they would look into that. The second is that someone asked me to ask about Livonia becoming a sanctuary city. So I don't know anything about that, but the main issue is this incident occurred on August 28th, a Wednesday. I was going south on Middlebelt to turn east onto Industrial. Work was being done at Industrial, so you could not make that left-hand turn. The lanes were not properly closed, so when you went to go to make that left-hand turn, you couldn't. You had to merge in to the traffic that was going south on Middlebelt. I called the police and I called Jennifer at the mayor's office. Jennifer responded. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. They said that was nothing, the city of Livonia had nothing to do with that, therefore the police could not come out there to monitor the traffic. In this packet, I gave President Toy, I did contact Wayne County Permits. I got a FOIA request on that. There was no permit issued with Wayne County. The city of Livonia didn't know this was going on. I talked to Grand Soccer Properties that operates that. I talked to Kim. He would not give me any information. I asked for a permit, and he would not respond. But all the phone numbers are in here. It seems to me that if there's work done in Livonia such as that there should be proper lane closure. It was a dangerous situation, and again, this was on Industrial Road, right before Outback on the east side, both inbound and outbound Industrial Road. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, go right ahead, Councilman Kritzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, I can't speak with any specificity to the nature of the work that was being performed out there, but if you're talking about the area that's east of Middlebelt, what you may think of as the extension for Industrial Drive, if it crossed Middlebelt, that's not a street. It's not a public road. It's a private road that is part of that shopping complex. So no permits would be required for that. That's a business that is operating on its own property. So that's not something that would come before us. But I could certainly see, with all the congestion there, how that would be something that's concerning. Is all the work completed now, I assume? Okay. Well, just by way of offering an explanation, I'm certain that that's why. Thank you.
Does that kind of fit it, Mr. Zawinski?
Mr. Crispin's correct, as far as it's Millennium Drive on the, would be on the east side of Middlebelt Road, is owned privately, whatever. And then, any permits or anything that would be, any work would be through Wayne County, which we don't have jurisdiction on Middlebelt Road, or if there's any impact to the approach, that'd be something that would be under their jurisdiction. But I know the lady had contacted the mayor's office. By the time it happened, I see the barricades were off the roadway itself, but the approach was in desperate need of repair. But again, I don't know the full story as far as permits or what was done out there, but I did understand her concern as far as the barricades. They were pulled off, and then the outbound was fixed, but I think that's something that should have been coordinated with the local businesses and/or done at night or on a weeknight or something like that, because it does impact that outbound traffic there. But
Appreciate that.
But yes, it was something that, again, not under our control, but we found after the fact.
Certainly. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it up, Christina. We appreciate it very much. Okay, is there anything else? No, I know we have some other, right? Hi, good
Hi,
evening.
how are you? My name's Nancy Valentini. I live at 15408 Susanna Circle. I've been a Livonia resident for over 28 years. President Toy, I hope your father is doing well since his illness a couple weeks ago.
Sort of, thank you.
I was curious, I understand there were some proposed dates for a new forum, and I didn't know if you'd be able to attend a rescheduled forum in light of that absence.
Are you asking me directly right now?
I think that the only one was the mayoral one that got,
We've
Messed
had
up.
several forums. That one I was unable to attend because of the incident that was described.
okay,
It depends on what other forums.
okay, I was talking about that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much. Anyone else? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, council. Some of you know me. I'm Judy Coleman. I'm an attorney in the area, but I'm also a resident of Castle Gardens subdivision, and I have been for 25 years. I have a handout if I could approach.
Yeah, just give it to Mr. Zelinski,
Okay.
and he'll hand it down to us.
I think I don't know how many I have there. We're here tonight, a bunch of us from Castle Gardens, which if you don't know exactly where that is, I put a little map on the top. But the borders are south of 5, north of Schoolcraft, east of Haggerty, and west of Newburgh. And we're having a severe skunk problem. We wouldn't be here tonight if this wasn't a serious issue. I've attached all the addresses that we got from our social media site regarding the lawn damage. I've attached some pictures. By no means is that an exclusive list or an exclusive list. But we are having dozens of lawns ruined, dogs sprayed, people chased. I mean, I've got people that have complained about they're suffering with asthma, and these skunks are causing their asthma attacks. We can't open our windows at night. I mean, this is like not just a few houses or a few skunks. This is like a skunk problem. And so we had a resident in our neighborhood who made an unfortunate mistake and was going to try to see if he could trap some of them and humanely set them free someplace. Animal control didn't like that. So we're coming to council tonight, and there's a lot of residents from our neighborhood who are going to speak to this. We're asking council to help us with this problem. I'm not sure if any of the pool board members are here from that pool club. I used to be a pool board member. I hope they'll forgive me for saying this, but they used to have a very big skunk problem under the decking of the pool. It was repaired. My guess is that maybe those skunks now have relocated throughout the neighborhood. We've tried to, pick up our garbage, make sure there's no holes, make sure there's no brush, all these things that we're doing, and we're still having the problem. So we are looking to council to perhaps give us some help from animal control or some trappers, somebody that's actually trained to trap and eradicate rodents. And what I did was I gave you some information that I found. I had to do it kind of quick. So I found some information on, from a California university study on skunks. And if you see, I know, it's like a little bit of overkill, but it actually is kind of helpful because I circled some parts of it. One of the things that I noticed was how fast they breed. Okay? How fast they breed, and I think that's part of the problem. So if we could have council address that, I'd
Madam
appreciate
President.
that.
Thank you, yeah.
I'll be happy to offer a resolution, a friendly amendment, since the mayor's not here. We'll send it to the administration, and he can pass it along to the proper departments within the city to explore this. We have no say over what departments do, so that's why it has to go through the mayor's office. We'll ask him to look into it. We did receive some emails on this subject earlier, so we are aware of it. We'll make sure that the mayor's aware of it and see if there's anything that we can do to help the situation.
Okay, I do believe there's maybe some other residents that are gonna wanna say something, but,
Okay, well, we're under audience communication at the moment,
Okay.
so
All right.
Vice President Jolly would like to.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, first I can say I'm sympathetic. My dog was sprayed by a skunk maybe last week or so. Luckily for me in that instance, my wife had a cold and a stuffy nose, so she was more than happy to take care of it and watch the dog because she couldn't smell it. But Ms. Coleman, as you know as an attorney, there are areas in which there is public law and there's private law. And unfortunately, there is a line here somewhere, I'm not quite sure where it is, I'm sure it sounds like the animal control officers have been out. There is something I'm sure the city can do in terms of investigating. It may or may not be something that we're able to remedy as a city. It may be something that the private homeowners may have to take care of depending on where the problem's coming from. Or if it's a pool club situation, animal control can assist. But again, typically speaking, the city does not come out and take care of problems on private property unless it's something that needs to be cited through an ordinance or something like that. And I'm sure you know that. I just want to put that on the record.
Yes, yes, we do know that, and I think that's part of the problem, is that we were told that we also could not do that. Okay, that we had to have permitted companies come out, that they had to be approved by animal control. It sounded like a lot of red tape for something that we may be able to handle as property owners, but they're not. Animal control said no.
I understand that, and I think like anything else, a lot of times businesses who operate in the city have to be licensed and appropriately authorized to do the work that they're doing. I can't speak to that. But if it's something they're telling you, whoever you had come out, and I recall reading some of the emails, if they were not doing it appropriately or if they were not licensed to do whatever they were doing, maybe animal control could give you some names or point you in the direction of somebody who would be able to do that.
I guess our issue is that animal control was not, they were basically wanting to reprimand us and not help.
Okay,
Okay,
well, we've
and-
got to go into the, yeah, we've
I
got
was
to
saying,
go.
what
one over
Mr.
to-
Meekin
Yeah.
had done there
Yeah.
kind of will remedy that and put it on the mayor's desk.
Yes,
Thank you.
certainly, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to anything that's not on the green agenda?
Hi, my name is Mike Nicholson. I also live in Castle Gardens. There is something the city can do. Skunks feed off animal feces,
Right.
among other things. I back up to Bean Park. People come in there all day long, all night long, let their dogs go. They poop all over the place. They don't pick it up. It's been that way for 20 years. I mean, is there anything we can do about that?
Is
I
there a
mean,
posted sign there by any chance?
Not, there's only one sign. And since they put the parking lots in, there's no signs there. There are 2 stands with poop bags,
Okay,
and there's garbage cans everywhere. But these people just drive up, let their dogs go, poop, and leave.
okay,
So I was wondering if something could be done about that.
okay.
All right, thank you.
That'll be forwarded as well, correct, Mr. Meekin? Sure. Okay. Thank you, sir, for coming in tonight. Any others? Yes, Councilman Barr.
I was just going to state explicitly for the record, I think in the request of the administration to look into this, that particular incident should be noted in the wording of that request.
Absolutely. Great. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to leave then audience communication, and we're going to go to reports from the mayor and other city officials. And we do have a communication from the Department of Finance dated August 30th of this year for various financial statements for our city for the month ending July 31st of 2019. Madam Clerk, if we could receive and file that, please. Thank you. Okay, council items 1 through 4 listed on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. This does not mean that they are any less important than the other items on the agenda, but rather that they have been determined not to be controversial in nature. Do I have a motion?
Madam President,
Yes, please, go ahead.
happy to offer an approving resolution for the consent agenda.
Support.
Moved by Council Vice President Jolly, supported by Councilman Barr. If there's no other comments, would the clerk take the vote?
Councilmember Kritzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're on item 5, which is meeting of the different committees, and this one is of Committee of the Whole, which was held on September 16th of this year, and I chair that, and all the council normally comes to that meeting. Item A, if we may, was a subject matter of intergovernment agreements for the creation of authorities for the purchase of goods and/or the delivery of services for its report and recommendation. our Director of Finance, Mike Slater, came and explained several things about different governmental agencies and how we do get some better prices on various items. And the adoption of the resolution was to take no further action on this. So this item will be reported out of committee and was placed on tonight's agenda. Was there any other direction on that?
Madam President?
Yes, please
I'll
go
offer
ahead.
that resolution for you.
Thank you very much. The resolution has been offered. Do we have a support on that?
Support.
Supported by Councilman Kritzman. Further discussion on that item? Hearing and seeing no one, would the clerk please take the vote on that?
Councilmember Kritzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin.
Aye.
Vice President Jolly.
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Item 2, council, was also in the committee of the whole. It was a subject matter of the citywide comprehensive master plan to the committee for its report and recommendation. And the master plan has been looked at by this council and many other councils prior to it on various kinds of master plans. This one we've done with our Director of Planning and Economic Development, Mr. Taramina, and Mr. Paul Lipkins from McKinnon and Associates, who's done an outstanding job on the Master Plan Committee. And it meets monthly to discuss the scope of what the committee has been discussing and to strengthen and simplify the master plan into 2 categories. One being Civic Center zoning considerations, meaning the City Hall campus, and 2 for mixed development area, general development guidelines of like Old Livonia Mall, 7 Mile in Farmington, Wonderland, 6 Mile in Newburgh. The master plan goals are for mixed development, planned development, and to make it easier to form base districts are being encouraged. Zoning processes are being discussed and implemented, and changes to consolidate and simplify districts so we can bring them more up to date. The committee discussed and need to complete a diagnostic review and look at restructuring to make it more user-friendly, if you will. And we would like to see more walkability, that is, in neighborhoods with mixed development, encouraged to redevelop larger areas in the city for rezoning. Other topics were discussed were repeal and adopt new ordinances, reorganization, floating districts, create options, waiver use process, multi-code, zoning code, industrial use, regional commercial zones, big box, power centers, medium boxes, indoor malls, and rethink better use and remain strong in our community. So these were just some of what was discussed, and this is to remain in committee for further discussion. This has been placed on tonight's agenda. If there's any other comment or direction? No? Anyone want to move that, or?
Doesn't need a
Oh, that's right, we're leaving the committee, so we're good. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're going to leave that in committee then, council. Item 3 then, council, was submitted by Livonia Healthcare Real Estate LLC to construct and operate a nursing and physical rehab facility on the property located on the southeast corner of Wayne Road and Ann Arbor Trail in the southwest quarter of Section 33. The council does hereby refer this item, and it was referred to the Committee of the Whole, and Mr. Roger Mully, authorized agent dated September 13th via email requesting to withdraw the site plan application for the development and a resolution of no further action. Is there comment from the council?
So moved, Madam President.
Thank you. It's moved by Councilman Meekin.
I'll second it.
Thank you from Council Vice President Jolly. Thank you. And this will report it out of committee, council. Any further discussion, comments? Hearing and seeing none, and anyone from the audience wishing to speak to this as well? Hearing and seeing no one, will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Kritzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin.
Aye.
Vice President Jolly.
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're under new business. Oh, no, sorry, we're under unfinished business. It's a roll call. It's a proposed amendment for the zoning ordinance number 543 as amended. This is a first reading. Councilman Meekin had given it first reading. Councilman Meekin?
Madam President, I'll offer second reading at this time.
Thank you. You have heard second reading. Any further comments? In hearing and seeing no one? Yes, please, go right ahead.
I just wanted to remind the council that the taxes for 2 of those properties are still not paid.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
Madam President?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Can you, Ms. Shield, Madam Treasurer, can you tell us the amounts, if you have them offhand?
137.
138, so they now have interest due for October, and the amounts that are due are 138, I believe it's 138.96, which don't seem like a lot. But the fact is that there's a little bit of a background here where the 3 properties were put in to be rezoned, and the person that put them in, Mr. Kresge, put them in so that he could have them all zoned the same so he could sell them. And the sale went through on the house, but the 2 properties were neglected to be put in for the sale. So the seller believes that he owns all 3 properties, however, he does not. And the other 2 properties are still in, or the buyer believes he owns all 3 properties. He does not. The 2 properties didn't get put in. So the assessing department is now on top of this. I've been, emailed everything to the buyer and the seller. And so there's some discrepancy here that we really don't want to let go by the wayside, because we don't want the 2 properties' taxes to not get paid and then end up going to foreclosure.
Well, it sounds like you've been working hard lately.
We have been.
As always, right? So I guess $138 to hold this up doesn't seem like much, but it seems like we're biting off a bigger problem in the process. Does Mr. Meekin want to change his motion at this time?
Well, actually, before I do that, I wanted to ask the law department what our recourse is on collecting those taxes in the upcoming, because I'm sure they're going to want a release of lien on the 2 additional properties. Are we creating a bigger problem for ourselves, and we have to have this back at a meeting again in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I must confess, I don't know anything about this particular matter, but I'd be glad to find out and report back to council. And,
Well, but we're voting on an item right here. There's kind of the,
well, if those 2 weren't part of the sale,
and the buyer is not aware of that, Ms. Shield?
They are. We've made the buyer and the seller aware that there is from their understanding, the sale did not go through as it appears the buyer and the seller believed it did. The warranty deed we received a copy of the warranty deed from Wayne County, and it only shows that there was the 1 property in the sale, not all 3. But I've talked to the seller. He thought the sale included all 3. The assessor's office talked to the buyer. They thought it included all 3.
All right. Madam President, I'll withdraw my motion for second reading on this, and if we could move this to the next regular meeting and let Linda do her magic and collect the $138, whatever it was.
And try to make sure that it all gets fixed the way it should be. But it will take some work on behalf of either the attorney involved in the sale or the title company involved in the sale. So we've been trying to reach out to all.
So is a couple weeks enough, or do you want me to just leave this off the agenda for indefinite until it's the actual
If you would like to
closing
leave it
occurs?
off the agenda, I'd be more than happy to let you know when it's resolved.
All right, we'll leave it at that
Perfect,
then and leave it
yeah.
off the agenda.
Yeah, not to continue this conversation, but that may be the smart thing to do, because even if they do rectify it with a deed transfer, it would take more than 2
Time.
weeks to kind of
Okay.
be recorded and such.
Together.
Perfect. So we've withdrawn that as well, and thank you, Madam Treasurer, for
Thank
your
you.
indulgence on that. Appreciate it. Thank you, Councilman Meekin, as well. Council, then, let's move to item 7, which is a request for a designation of a nonprofit organization. Is Mr. Sean Griffin here tonight? You want to come up to the mic there? Thanks. You're asking us to recognize you as a nonprofit organization operating in our community. What is this all about? You weren't able to make the study, right?
No, I was in Houston.
Okay.
My fiance was going to come on my behalf, and she's from Colorado, so she got lost and couldn't find it. So I apologize about that.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. So we want to have millionaire parties or raffles to do additional fundraising, but we buy equipment and apparel for underfunded high schools, donate to them to help offset their budgets. they charge kids a fee to play sports, or they just close down departments. So we're trying to offset that, create an opportunity for everybody to play sports. So,
Are you related to the Griffin family that was across the street?
I don't think so.
They had a sports store?
Oh, no.
No, not
My
that
family owns funeral homes.
Funeral, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
funeral homes, yep. I know what you're saying. Okay, go right ahead.
And you went to Catholic Central, correct?
I did.
All right. So,
So you're gonna move a motion.
yeah, well, look at the good that someone from Catholic Central is doing to help people from all schools, right?
Yes, sir.
As a fellow Catholic Central alum, I am happy to offer an approving resolution for this, and I think it's a
Thank you.
worthy cause. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does sound very good, thanks. All right, we have an approving, any others? No, all right, do I have support on that?
Support.
Yeah, great, Councilman Kritzman supported.
I didn't go there, but it's still a good cause.
That's right.
For the record, he sent me a text this weekend pointing out that his school is ranked like 71st in the country, and that mine was only 112th. So this is poetic justice in one way or another, that
I won
he
3 in a
has
row.
to support this.
Important business for the city.
It was the weekend, and I'd be happy to share the link with anybody else who wants it.
Oh, well, good. All right, well, is there anyone from the audience wishing to speak to this subject? Hearing and seeing no one, would the clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Kritzman,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye. Congratulations on your future wedding as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, item 8, council, is a site plan petition. This is brought to us from the Planning Commission for this, to renovate an existing gas station. We should have some new plans in front of you on the northwest quarter of 6 Mile and Haggerty Roads and southwest quarter of Section 7. Do I have direction?
Madam President,
Certainly, go
I'll
ahead.
offer an approving for point of conversation.
Okay, Council Vice President Jolly has offered approving for point of conversation. Do I have a support on that?
Support.
Supported by Councilman Kritzman. Discussion, council, or would you prefer to go to the audience?
Madam President?
Yes, please
Is
go
the
ahead.
petitioner here?
As a petitioner, yes, there he is, right there,
I
okay.
have a question. for
Certainly,
him.
sir, your name and address for the record.
Sure. Saeed Arbit from Arbit Design and Construction, 16030 Michigan Avenue, Suite 220, Dearborn, Michigan, 48126.
Madam President, if I may, sir, what changed on this from what we saw previously?
Few things we addressed. First, we enhanced the floor plan and elevations from the previous submittal. Number one, we reduced the amount of glazing on the front. That would be the west, south, and north elevations. And we integrated the cultured stone columns that are represented on this elevation. Two, we reduced the height of the stucco work at the top to increase the amount of brick, and extended the height of the overall height of the building another foot, so we can secure a 3-foot parapet to hide all the rooftop equipments. Now, also other things that were addressed, we removed the burnished brick from the bottom, replaced it with brick, the burnished CMU and replaced it with brick, and it's all around the building. Extended the parapet to wrap around from the west and, from the east side as well, so it's all around the building. And the dumpster enclosure also on the site plan is addressed to have finished brick veneer to match the building as well. Of course, there was a mistake from last time. The south door on the floor plan that wasn't depicted on the elevations was taken out as well.
Okay, I'm good, thanks.
Certainly.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please, go
If
right
I could
ahead.
offer just a couple of comments. I think the design is nice. I think you've done a nice job changing the proportions of it and improving the exterior design. I think the switch from the burnished block to the brick will be more harmonious with that area, and certainly, in the end, present a nicer product. I appreciate the changes that have been made to the drawings, and I think it's a nice responsive bit of design in the new data that's been submitted. And with that, I look forward to supporting the project.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Madam Clerk, would you receive and file the new data too on those site plans or the building plans? Okay, so we have a motion.
Madam Chair, I'm happy to support it. I agree with Mr. Kritzman's comments. It looks great, and I think it'll be a nice improvement in that area.
Great, thank you. We have a motion from Vice President Jolly and supported by Councilman Kritzman and Councilwoman White. If there's no further discussion from the council, I'll move over to the audience. Thank you, sir, for giving us more information. Okay, seeing none, then I guess we could take the vote on that, please.
Councilmember Kritzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're under new business. This is a request to amend qualification-based selection QBS contract with OHM Advisors. It's brought to us from the Public Service Division. Do I have direction from you?
Move approval, Madam President.
Moved approval by Councilman Meekin, supported by
I'll support it.
Council Vice President Jolly. Is there discussion? Councilman Roloff.
Good evening, Council. Doesn't sound like I have to say a whole lot, so I'm just here to answer any questions.
Certainly.
Madam President.
Yes, please go right ahead.
Well, it's not that we don't want to hear you, Don, but
I took a shower and
representative of OHM is here, and she made the trip. If she'd like to say a few words, we'd more than welcome her at the microphone.
Good evening, Council. Jessica Caters with OHM. And we were asked by DPW to help provide the amendment to the QBS contract that we currently hold with the city to allow us to do work with the DPW that's not necessarily work that is, that may need to be done on a more timely basis, such as emergency repair work, that we're helping them provide data from the water model that we house for the city, other additional work that's not necessarily large enough to bring in front of council for approval prior to the due date for the work being done. And we provided a schedule of rates that would be implemented for any of that work that would be requested from DPW or the engineering department of OHM.
Which is all part of the ongoing QBS contract that we have?
Correct.
Sure. So nothing really new, we're just extending the contract out, correct?
It's adding a rate schedule for this
The
type of work.
upcoming extension? Okay,
For general service work.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Mr. Roloff, did you want to add to that at all, or are you all right?
Just one quick comment. The reason that we're bringing this before you is a housekeeping issue for more or less. But the reason that it's become apparent that we needed to do this is over the last couple of years, we've been using their service a lot more. And a lot of that's being dictated by the state, the lead and copper rules, the PFAS stuff, those type of things that are out there. So just to make sure that we have all of our stuff in order when we're using them, we just wanted to make sure that we had the rate schedule there for that, so.
Certainly. Thank you very much. Okay. Council, we do have a motion on the floor. Was there any other discussion before we leave this? Anyone from the audience? Hearing and seeing no one, would the clerk please call for the vote here?
Councilmember Kritzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're on item 10, request to authorize an additional appropriation and expenditure. This is brought to us from the Engineering Division for existing water and sewer taps and service connections. Mr. Zelinsik.
Good evening, Madam President and City Council members. We bring before you to utilize D'Angelo Brothers to help us assist us in some storm installations along 3 different locations. They've been on their radar for the last several years, ongoing problems that take away from our staff time. As you know, D'Angelo's helped us out in the previous past. They have on ladders, but they have the equipment, the ability to coordinate with our DPW and address these problems that are continually ongoing that just keep every year cropping up. So this is an opportunity for us to address the 3 locations Sometimes we partnership with the existing residents. For instance, the one on Grove, we'll be putting the stub out to the right-of-way and allowing the resident to then continue on with the private storm system to accompany 3 or 4 different parcels to help drain that area that comes up to the city engineering department. So just to give you an example for one. But looking for your approval to waive the bidding process and allow D'Angelo to do the work in the amount of $121,905 to get these issues resolved before the rainy season sets in here shortly. Thank
Madam
you.
President,
Thank you. Certainly, Councilman.
do we have a motion on this?
No, we do not.
Okay, I'll make an approving motion.
Councilman Barr is offering approving. Were there any others? Councilwoman McIntyre would like to support, correct?
Yeah, support
Yes.
and make a comment.
Certainly,
If
go
I
right ahead.
may.
Yes, please.
There aren't a lot of times that I'm comfortable waiving our processes, but given that these are emergency repairs that need to get done, and D'Angelo Brothers is a contractor that's well-known, that does extensive work in our city for very competitive prices and high quality, I have no problem supporting this. And thank you, Todd, for getting this in place.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Yes,
Madam
Council Vice
President,
President Jolly, please.
Don't take this as pushing back at all, because that's not my intention, and I understand that D'Angelo's been a great partner for the city. Because we are waiving the bid process in regards to this, is this amount of money, is this what we would typically expect? I'm just looking for something on the record in terms of, is that what we would expect to normally pay for such services? Is that in the ballpark with your professional?
Correct. We kind of set aside about $100,000, but again, each case is different, and then, to partner up with different residents and different groups, whatever, so it all depends on what challenges and utilities are there, but this is, in the ballpark of what we're looking for, correct?
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. If there's no one from the audience wishing to approach podiums, then we will ask our clerk to take the vote.
Councilmember Kritzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're under new business still. Item 11, request to authorize an additional appropriation and expenditure brought to us from the Engineering Division for the 2019 Sidewalk Program pavement improvements at various locations through Civic Center campus, not to exceed $25,000. Do I have direction?
I'll offer an approving resolution, Madam President.
Council Vice President Jolly is offered an approving. Do I have support?
Support.
Thank you. Councilwoman McIntyre has offered support. Any discussion from the council? Any discussion from the audience? Hearing and seeing no one, would the clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Kritzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye. Motion passes. Council, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
So move.
Moved by Councilman Barr, supported by Councilman Kritzman. Council, this is the next item, and I'm going to turn it over to, can we show 7? Yes, please. Could we go to Mr., our city attorney, Leo Neville. Mr. Neville. This is in regards to the X item. Yeah.
Yes, we had a public hearing on October the 2nd. And
Hold on 1 minute. We got to get a motion.
I think
I'm sorry.
We don't need a
We
motion.
have a motion.
Yeah, we need a motion.
We need a motion.
Okay. Did somebody want to move
Suspend
that?
the rules.
Yeah.
We
We
had.
we did
already had that.
I'll make the
Sorry.
We need an approving. to speak about
Approving
this.
to speak about it.
Sorry.
I'll make improving
Support.
Thank
resolution
you.
on the motion, on the
Moved by
item.
Barr, supported by Vice President Jolly. Thank you, sorry.
No, that's fine. As I was saying, we had a public hearing last week, October 2nd, and one of the items was, the Law Department has prepared a proposed amendment to our zoning ordinance definition of bed and breakfast to include short-term rentals such as Airbnbs, VRBOs, home away, and things of that nature. It's a two-step process. First was to include those short-term rentals under the term of a bed and breakfast. And then the second portion of it was then to incorporate the Airbnbs, VRBOs, et cetera, into the licensing and inspection requirements and all the other requirements for a permitted use, a waiver use in residential zone districts to be similar to those by the bed and breakfast. As a matter of procedure, there was a complete oversight relative to audience participation. And as a result, under the Open Meetings Act, we have the right within 18 hours, giving 18 hours notice to reschedule or to, to hold this meeting so that those who may not have had an opportunity to speak on October 2nd would have the opportunity to address council this evening, and that's why we've asked that this matter be placed on as a X item on the agenda for tonight.
Yes, committee of the whole then. Yes, go right ahead, Councilman Meekin.
Madam President, I want to clarify our resolution from that evening was to send this to committee of the whole.
Correct.
And I don't see it in the minutes or the
Body of that.
attorney notes to say that, so I want to make sure that that's what we're voting on, is to send it to committee of the whole.
That was
So which
the
would have been the same
Yeah.
outcome. We're just giving the residents an opportunity at this meeting to address their concerns. Thank you.
Yes, go right ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Neville? Yes. In regards to, just for clarification of the record here, the provision that you're citing of the Open Meetings Act,
Correct.
that provision does not make a distinction between this meeting being a regular or a voting meeting and the meeting that we had this mishap being a public hearing?
As I read the Open Meetings Act, I think it states that whether it was a regular meeting or a rescheduled meeting of a board or a committee, or calls for a special meeting, then notice of this reopened meeting should be at least 18 hours. So as I interpret the Open Meetings Act, it was my opinion that adding this to our agenda tonight was tantamount to being a rescheduling or a continuation of what we were here for on October the 2nd. So I think, I don't see any problem under the statute for us to do that tonight. So I don't know, as I read it, I don't know if there's any, I don't see a distinction that would preclude this matter being on tonight's agenda, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Neville. I just, I guess, by way of, pointing out that we as a council did kind of, we all should have been on the ball in regards to that, and we weren't in that particular moment. So if it does become an issue later on, I want to make sure that's on the record that you have put great thought and effort and legal analysis into rectifying the situation. I believe you have, and I believe we have as well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Madam President.
Yes, go right ahead.
I want to clarify, when I offered an approving resolution, my understanding was the reason this was an X item tonight was to just expedite the scheduling of the committee of the whole meeting, which is what we did in that public hearing. We did have a public hearing.
Yes.
Audience communication was asked for. The confusion was as to whether everybody had spoken who wanted to speak. We did ask for audience communication. We got one person. There was some confusion as to whether there were more, and the meeting did end before it should have. But the resolution that came out of that was to go to committee of the whole. At the committee of the whole, I know those residents are already aware of the intentions to do that this Wednesday, and they'll have the opportunity to speak there. I don't see there's any benefit in continuing the public hearing tonight. Those residents aren't here. They didn't know about it. My resolution was to approve, the resolution came out of the public hearing to go to committee of the whole on Wednesday. The reason we need to do that as an X item is, had we not done that, it would have had to wait till the next meeting for us to do that. So I just want to make it clear, I'm not putting approving a resolution to do another public hearing. We did have a public hearing.
Right.
It just wasn't done the way it should have been. Or it was ended sooner than it should have been, is what I should say. But my resolution is to have the committee of the whole meeting this Wednesday, and those residents will have an opportunity that didn't feel they had a chance to speak to come and make their concerns known then. That's the motion I made.
Madam
Yes,
President, if
go
I
right
may.
ahead. Sure.
So I am in agreement with you. We offered those motions to speak about the matter and have a communication from Mr. Neville. A friendly suggestion at this point would be to retract the motion that you made and offer a motion for committee of the whole. and that I would support that motion.
I guess that's, what I'm saying is that's the motion I intended to make. That's the motion I made. I didn't explicitly say it well, but.
You said approving, so to be clear, okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
it's
so
committee
I,
of the
no,
whole.
I understand what Councilman Jolly is saying. that
Approving
makes
would
sense.
approve the matter.
I understand,
hand.
yeah, yep.
So, so you're offering that
Everybody all
substitute
right?
motion?
Yep.
So what, hold on, do I still have the floor? I think
Sure,
what-
go right ahead.
I think what Councilman Jolly is saying is because despite my intent, because of what we have in front of us, I actually offered a different resolution of what I intended. So I guess at this point, I would withdraw, I can do that instead of a substitute, right?
Correct.
I would withdraw that motion, and I would offer a motion to go to committee of the whole this Wednesday on that topic.
Is a seconder in agreement with that?
I am, and I support the
Okay,
new motion.
great, okay, great.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, so we're clear, we're going to the committee of the whole, Wednesday night, actually. So, is there any others? Nope, okay. Anyone from the audience wishing to speak to this matter? Hearing and seeing no one, will the clerk take the vote on the X item?
Councilmember Kritzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're at, that was our last item. We are now going into audience communication. Anyone wishing to speak on any item that's not on the green sheet or agenda sheet tonight, if you approach the podium to my left or right, we'd be happy to hear your comment. Seeing and hearing no one, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Council Vice President Jolly, supported by Councilman Barr. We can safely show 7, I believe, correct? We are adjourned.
It shows it right here. Approving the